Chapter 25. Testing Blood. After classes had finished for the day, Vorden had offered to help Peter with his training again. Especially since tomorrow the two of them would be in the same combat classes, the elemental class. "Hey, do you want to come with us?" Peter asked. "Nah, I won't bother you guys, I wouldn't be much help anyway," Quinn replied. Peter was pleased that it seemed like the group had gotten back normal again. There was no tension between the three of them and Peter wished it would stay that way forever. Just then when Quinn had left, Vorden and Peter were left in the room. That's when Vorden asked Peter a question. "Hey, have you seen Quinn hanging around with a girl lately?" Vorden asked. "Come to think of it, I saw him exit with a girl at the library. It was the same one who was at the test with us that day, with the bow and arrow." After Peter had given an answer, for a split second, Peter felt like he saw the expression on Vorden's face change. But Quinn blinked and looked again and Vorden seemed to be fine. "Maybe he's gone and got himself a little girlfriend," said Vorden laughing. Quinn had, of course, decided to ditch the other two because he had already made plans to meet up with Layla beforehand. The two of them were to meet at the school gate. But before the two of them were to meet, Quinn decided to stop by the science lab. Although most lessons in military school were about combat or how to use technology, science was still a core subject. It was because of scientists that the human race had discovered how to use all the different technologies they had in the world today. So students were encouraged to continue to learn science throughout their service time, in hopes they would continue to in the future. The classrooms were empty for the day and the important equipment were locked in a storage room. But Quinn wasn't looking for anything too fancy, all he needed was some test tubes and small corks. After searching around the room for a while he found where they kept the test tubes. He took a total of 5 test tubes. Even though there were many there, if he took too much it would be suspicious and Quinn couldn't carry more than 5 without having to worry about them breaking or not. Quinn shoved the 5 test tubes into a messenger bag he was carrying and wrapped them up in a spare shirt he took from his room. Quinn currently had a total of 60 out of 200 express until his next level up. 50 experience points had carried over from the last quest and he had received 10 express from his 2 daily quests. So far with each level up, he would gain 1 additional stat point and 5 points of HP. Although Quinn had gotten stronger through this, it wasn't the fastest way for him to improve his strength. Quinn realized the system had offered him the chance to gain an additional stat point 2 times as long as he drank his victim's blood, but when he drank Layla's blood, he still gained a stat point. This was what Quinn wanted to test out today. It was 6 o'clock in the evening and the sun was just starting to set, meaning Quinn wasn't affected by the sun right now. As planned, Layla was standing there waiting for him by the gate with her bow on her back. Students who used weapons would carry it with them around most of the time. There was always the chance of an attack or a beast escaping through a portal. After the two of them met, they decided to walk to the nearby park that was in between the convenience store and the school. Then they ventured away from the trail into the woods where they were behind cover. No one ventured in these parts and it was hard for them to be seen. "So are we going to this?" Layla asked excitedly. Quinn still found it weird that rather than being scared by the whole situation, Layla was exited. "All right, close your eyes," said Quinn. Layla closed her eyes and was ready. She could still remember the satisfying feeling from the last time and couldn't wait to feel it again. Although she was a bit nervous when a thought came to her head that Quinn's lips would be on her neck. Suddenly though, Layla felt a small prick in her arm. Layla opened her eyes and noticed that a needle was there. "What, you didn't think I was just going to bite you, did you?" Layla's cheeks suddenly went bright red. If it wasn't for the needle in her hand, she would have tried kicking Quinn away. Once the syringe had been filled up, Quinn squirted it out into one of the test tubes he brought with him. "Is it okay if I fill another one?" Quinn asked. Layla didn't say anything and held out her arm. She was still a bit embarrassed about what had happened earlier. Once Quinn had filled up 2 test tubes, he put one of the blood-filled tubes in his bag while holding the other. Inspect. Blood of Layla Munro. Blood type A positive. Quinn then looked at Layla and used his inspect skill once again. Name: Layla Munro. Race: human. Ability: telekinesis. HP 12 out of 12. Blood type A positive. It was as Quinn thought. When using the inspect skill on the blood, it only showed him what blood type it was and who it was from. Just like the time at the assembly hall. But if the person was in front of him, it would reveal their ability, HP and blood type. Some of the blood marks in the hall only revealed question marks. Assuming that Quinn either had to have run into the person before or used the inspect skill on the person once before. Quinn looked at the test tube and gulped. He then pulled out the cork at the top and started sniffing the blood. "You're not going to drink it right here, are you?" Layla asked. "Why not? I need to know if it will make any changes." "I don't know, it feels kind of embarrassing, I can't explain." Quinn ignored Layla and looked at the blood again. The fragrance smelt quite sweet, which was different from how he remembered it before. Then suddenly, Quinn lifted the tube and drank the blood in one gulp as if he was taking an alcoholic shot. As the blood ran down his throat, he felt a warm tingling sensation through his body. The blood was also surprisingly sweet rather than metallic. It seemed like the race change had also changed his taste buds and sense of smell. "Your HP is already full. The blood will have no effect. Blood from this person has already been consumed. No stat points will be given." Quinn was surprised to see at the information he had been given. The blood last time seemed to have a healing effect on his body. Judging by the message, if Quinn was injured, Layla's blood would allow him to regain HP. But the second message is what interested him more. The system stated because he had already consumed this blood before, that no stats would be given. This meant that as long as it was the blood of someone he hadn't drunk before, he would be able to get an extra stat point. Quinn smiled at the thought. Of course, this was only a theory of his, but Quinn wanted to test it out straight away. "I guess whatever you wanted to test out worked, judging by your creepy smile and all," Layla said. "If only there was someone else's blood I could test this on." Just then the sound of 2 people entering the woods from the playground was heard. Quinn and Layla immediately ducked down and hid behind a tree. That's when they saw 2 students started to walk into the forest. "Now hand over your credits, otherwise I'll dig you your grave right here and no one will ever find your body," a boy's voice said. Quinn immediately recognized the voice. It was Riley. It looked like he still hadn't learned his lesson and was still up to his old tricks. Quinn then went into his bag and took out the mask he had bought at the convenience store. Last time he had let Riley go without taking any of his blood and now he felt like it was such a waste. But this time Quinn wouldn't let Riley go.